guys, welcome back to October Reads. And since we're getting in the final days of October Reads, I figure it's about time to visit Swamp Thing #1. I've read Saga of Swamp Thing 21, like the first big Alan Moore issue. I've read House of Secrets 92, the first Swamp Thing. So I figured, why not just go ahead, read Swamp Thing #1, because why not? It kind of ties everything in together. So this is basically a tale of tragedy and revenge. Lin Wine's writing here is masterclass stuff. He has a very poetic way of handling the narration in this. It's very awesome if you hadn't had a chance to read it before. So basically the story starts off with, you know, the Hollands. They're basically together. It's now Alec Holland finally for the first time ever, not Alex or whatever his last name was from House of Secrets 92. He still has his wife Linda here though. And they are basically charged by the U.S. government to go to this hidden cabin that's filled with machinery and lab equipment and stuff. And they are charged with making this formula that can basically make greenery in a desert, more or less. So they don't really get into a lot of details on what this formula is and how or why it works. But all you need to really know is Alec is successful in making this formula. And the other character you actually get to meet is Lieutenant Matt Cable. He's been sent there by the government to kind of protect the Hollands, because the U.S. government's theory is that if the U.S. government controls this formula, they control everything, basically. And that's the foreign thinking as well. So they don't want, you know, outside interference in trying to steal this formula or destroy the formula. So guess what's going to happen? People are going to try to destroy this formula, and one of those companies is called the Conclave. Now, we don't know too much about the Conclave, except that they send this guy with a couple goons with them, and they're basically, their first approach is to approach Alec and more or less offer him a blank check. They just want to buy the things so they can cover it up and not have to worry about it affecting their shell corporations and losing money there. And Alec basically explains it's not for sale. We're wanting to make the world better. True hero stuff here, basically, from Alec. He's just an all-around nice guy. So he shows them the door, basically. So the Conclave guy in charge, which he's almost kind of like Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. You don't see too much of him or get to know him too much. He's just sitting there, you know, in the dark shadows, more or less. Enter this flea-bitten dog who Linda befriends. Alec just wants it out of his lab. He doesn't want the fleas or anything. And he sees Linda's eyes. He looks at the dog's eyes. Once again, Swamp Thing in the eyes. They always have emphasis on the eyes in Swamp Thing. This time, not Swamp Thing himself, the dog. So you feel bad for the dog. They take him in. But little do they know the Conclave planted a recording device on this dog, so they kind of know now what's going on inside that laboratory. So whenever, you know, Matt Cable's not there, Linda's not there, they know to go, and it's just Alec and attack. So that's exactly what happens. The Conclave goons, they get more physical this time, obviously. They knock out Alec. They decide to plant a bomb under his lab table with all the chemicals on it, and of course, boom, just like you know, the Flash basically gets all these chemicals blown up on him. And he runs into the swamp, and that's it for Alec Holland. So you see Linda at his funeral with this flea-bitten dog and Matt Cable, and they go back to the lab. I guess they're just collecting the remains, and then the goons, their other mission though was they had to take out the Hollands and the formula, not just Alec. They wanted to take out Linda as well. So they used that scraggly dog again as a distraction. And as Swamp Thing is formed, it's like he doesn't even miss a beat. He just kind of sees a reflection of himself once and has that shriek of terror, but then he moves on quickly because he knows there's danger about with Linda. But unfortunately, he saves the dog from the bog, or I shouldn't say unfortunately. It was nice of him to save the dog, but unfortunately, the distraction of him having to save the dog cost him his wife, basically. So they knew he'd go after the dog. So they end up killing off the wife and succeeding in their mission, but they didn't factor in the fact that he's going to turn into the Swamp Thing. So as they're getting away, they're driving in the road, and then Swamp Thing, he's just staying in the road. Obviously, you're not going to kill Swamp Thing with a car. They just run into him, and it does nothing to him. It just hurts them a lot more than it hurts Swamp Thing. So the only survivor is the main guy in charge of the goons. Swamp Thing kind of just like shakes him to death, basically. And the only person left shooting at him is Matt Cable, which he doesn't communicate with at all. He knows he's like not human anymore, so he has nothing to tell Matt Cable. He just walks off and leaves Matt Cable to his own will, basically, which you'll get to know him a lot later down the line, obviously. But yeah, Swamp Thing, still one of the best reads you can find from the 70s. Bernie Wrightson is in his full prime here. Some of the best art you will find from Bernie Wrightson. Swamp Thing issue #1, just like, you know, House of Secrets 92. You got 10 to 12 pages of greatness there. You get a whole book of greatness and one nice story from Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson here. It's not just a 3-part story like House of Secrets was, which the other parts were solid, but you wanted more Swamp Thing, and that's what they give you here. So, of course, this for me is going to be a 5 out of 5, because why wouldn't it be? It's Bernie Wrightson, it's Len Wein, it's Swamp Thing. You gotta love it. So thank you guys so much once again for checking out October Reads.